The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, my name is Rafael Calderon. Welcome to a special edition of our program, CHW in Action, with your host, Rafael Calderon. CHW, as always, I like to state that CHW stands for Community Health Worker in Action, because I'm always in action to bring you the community of Nashua, the state of New Hampshire, and anyone that watches this show anywhere in the United States or anywhere where there's internet. I want to bring you information about how to live a healthy lifestyle. I'm a certified community health worker. I've been doing this for about 2.5 years, and it's a very exciting job because I get an opportunity to help people create their ideal lifestyles by living a healthy lifestyle. This week, I wanted to do a special edition on CHW in Action because I came across a few interesting situations throughout this week. People in need in the community of Nashua. And I have people facing many difficult situations, depression, heartbreak, people are about to be evicted from their apartments, people that have been addicted and have become homeless or temporarily homeless and are in a tough situation. There's a lot of people struggling, people having immigration issues, being afraid that they're going to be sent back to their countries even though they have everything in order or their documentation in order. So there's a lot of stress, a lot of depression in my lovely community of Nashua, New Hampshire. And I've been thinking on how to help. And so I figured that I would try to use this program, our program, to send a message that if we all of us people, if we invest our time in creating our ideal lifestyles, the outcome is that we will live a healthy lifestyle and we will have a happy life. But when I talk to people about creating an ideal lifestyle, people automatically assume that an ideal lifestyle means a perfect lifestyle. And in life, nothing is perfect, right? So then I go into more details and I explain an ideal lifestyle is achieved when your life is in balance, when all the areas of your life are imbalanced. And in order to have a balanced life, which means a full life and a happy life, you have to be in control of 9 different areas of your life. This is what I call, what most people, most professional life coaches call this the Wheel of Life philosophy. What I have done is that I took this tool, the Wheel of Life philosophy, and I applied it to my personal experiences, and I named it Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy. And what I do is that I teach this Wheel of Life philosophy based on my personal experiences, and I get people to think about creating their own. And believe it or not, it works. It really works. I have met so many people that have been in very interesting times or going through very interesting times or tough times in their lives. And by following this Wheel of Life philosophy, they have been able to gain control of their life. They have taken control of their lives and creating a better life for themselves. So what I want to go into, first of all, is that I want to share my life experiences with you via videos, right? What I will tell you is how my life went dark, per se. My life got interesting for a while, and it got tough, let's put it that way. And I'll tell you how I was able to find my way back. But I can tell you that the main tool that helped me get back to who I really am and to be effective and useful to other people was using this Wheel of Life philosophy, which we will call Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy. Now, Rafael's Wheel of Life philosophy is composed of 9 parts. Okay, we have health. Let me start over. It's composed of 9 parts. We have spiritual guidance, health, work and career, companionship, fun and recreation, financial literacy, education, family and friends, and back to spiritual guidance. So let me run it to you again. Rafael Calderon's Way of Life philosophy is based in 9 areas. If you can take control of these 9 areas of your life, you will have a good life. I can tell you that it worked for me. It worked for many other people, right? So the 9 areas that this Way of Life philosophy works with, they're called spiritual guidance, health, working career, companionship, fun and recreation, financial literacy, education, family and friends, and back at spiritual guidance. So it's a wheel, you see. And the whole idea is that when you have a balanced wheel, it doesn't mean that everything's always like the same, that nothing moves because everything's balanced. For example, if you're thinking about balancing $100, then you break it down into 24, well, let's say five $20 bills, right? So each area, let's put it that way, is $20 bills. So if you take 5 $20 bills, they're going to be a nice wheel, right? Because they're all balanced. But you and I both know that that is not how life works. There's different things going on at different times, right? And when we have to go to work to balance these things, these areas, that's when life becomes good, challenging. Challenges are good. Problems are good because they help us grow as human beings, right? So if you think of a tire on a car, if the tire is not well balanced, it's not going to run well, right? And then we'll have a choice. Do we want to go to a tire shop and balance that tire? Or do we want to put up with running with a tire that is not running smoothly? It really comes down to that. But even better, I'll give you this example because we are going to use Rafael Calderon's Way of Life philosophy, right? So let's say that you are driving your car is running on wheels, you got a flat tire. You have a choice, right? You can stop and fix that tire, or you can keep running hoping that the tire will make it until you get to a place that will do it for you. Or maybe you'll do it yourself. But the key thing is that you take the chance and you keep driving that car, right? While you're driving, you're still moving forward, but you are not at peace. You are not at ease. You're not balanced. Why? Because you're worried that that tire is going to explode on you and your car is going to get stuck. It won't move, right? So you keep pushing. You keep pushing until, let's say that the tire does break down, and then you have no choice. The car stopped. The car is not moving. Now you're stuck. Now you become stagnant. Now you have to get up and fix that tire, but now it's going to be harder because you're going to be mad at yourself, okay? And let's imagine that you don't have a spare tire and you don't have the tools to change that tire. Now you're stuck because your car can't move. And the worst part of it is that you know that you could have or should have stopped as soon as you got the flat tire. And if you had seen that you were missing equipment or that you didn't have a spare tire, you have more time to fix the matter. You see, that is how most people get stuck in their lives, is that things happen. They see things coming, but they allow it to continue to go on because they say, I'll fix it tomorrow. I'll look into it tomorrow. Things will fix themselves tomorrow. Or if I ignore it, the problem will go away. Well, what happens is that the problems don't go away. They get worse. And then the person's life becomes unbalanced. Because as long as one area of the way of life is not working well, that area is going to affect other areas. And if you have 2 areas of your life that are not working well, you'll feel it, right? You'll feel it and it will affect you. But you will still be able to function. Now, if that tire, if more than 3 areas, if four areas of your life become, let's say, inefficient, if they don't work well, then that can stop your life on its tracks. It can make you become stagnant. And then your life becomes interesting, and then you feel that you're in trouble, that you're stuck, and you want to do anything that you can to get out of that situation. And in trying to get out of that situation is when you can get in trouble, when you can make mistakes that have consequences. You see? So let's use Rafael Calderon's Way of Life philosophy to learn how to make our lives better so that if something happens, we're ready to deal with that on the spot and not wait. Okay? Now, again, Rafael Calderon's Way of Life philosophy is based on my life experiences. And the reason why I'm doing it that way is because I want to show people that I went through a bad experience and I used this philosophy and it worked for me. So if it worked for me, it has to work for you. If you put the passion and the energy that I put into it. And I'll tell you what, I have worked with many people. Before I became a community health worker, before I became a CHW, I was a professional life coach. I still am a professional life coach, but now my passion is, let's say, 75% into CHW work and 25% into life coaching. Why? Because when it comes to CHW work, I can see the results right away. When it comes to life coaching, it takes time for people to first acknowledge that they need help, and then acknowledge that help is not enough. They have to become empowered. And in order for them to become empowered, they have to believe in themselves. And it's very hard for someone to believe in themselves when they are going through hard times. It's just the way that life is. So what I'm going to do in this special program is I'm going to tell you about the 9 areas of Rafael Calderon's Way of Life philosophy. And at the beginning of each area, I'm going to show you some nice footage of some place that I visited when I was working on creating my ideal lifestyle. I traveled a lot to places that I had wanted to travel in a let's say in a while, or before when things were bad for me, and I couldn't afford to go there. To be honest, I couldn't afford it because my business took a big hit, and things got bad for me. And name it, everything that can happen to make your life go bad, it all happened to me, right? And the way that life taught me that it is not about life itself taught me that life is not about what happens to us. It's not about what happens to you. It's about how you react to what happens to you. So you will see. I'll tell you, okay, I'll show you a very nice place, a very nice environment, because I also want to show you different things. I want to show you that when things are not going well, you want to change your environment, even if temporarily, right? If things are not going well for you, instead of trying to dig in and fix the problem, okay, try to get a new perspective. Try to go out to a different place, see something different. Try to get out of your head. And then you will see how you will attract the solution to the problem all by yourself. So there you have it. The idea of Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy is to show you, right, that when you are creating your ideal lifestyle, your life becomes a lot more exciting, a lot more interesting. And then you don't have time to be depressed. You don't have time to be heartbroken. You don't have time to go out over drinking, abusing alcohol, or using drugs, or abusing drugs. You don't do those things because you would be busy creating your lifestyle. And that's what I want to bring to you with this program. I want to show you how to create your lifestyle so that you are happy, so that you live a full life. Okay? Now, the first area of the Wheel of Life philosophy is spiritual guidance. Right? Spiritual guidance is not a religious thing. Okay? I'll tell you, for my part, I believe in God. I believe that God is good, and I believe that God teaches us lessons to make us better, so that we can grow spiritually. I respect all religions, but I do not consider myself a religious person, because to me, my relationship with God is my number one priority. And I have met many, many people from many different religions, and in my opinion, they're all good. I respect them all, and I say that they are good, that they are all good, because all the religions that I have come into contact with, they have wanted to somehow get closer to God, have a better relationship with God, and that's what they teach people. But somewhere along the line, I see a disconnect, and I may be mistaken, but that's what I see. And because I see that disconnect, I choose to become or be more spiritual than religious. But the point being is that spiritual guidance, it's about having a connection to that something that is greater than you, greater than me. Okay, we all know that we came from something bigger than us. The best way that I can try to explain spiritual guidance is the sea. When you look at the sea, it's beautiful, it's powerful, it creates life, it sustains life, but it can also take life away. Right? All these things can happen in the sea. And when you think of the sea, what do you think? You think of powerful waves, right? If you look at my background, that's the sea. I went to Hampton Beach and I took some footage of the sea, and I will show it to you in this video. And I went into the sea to make this point, that when you think of the sea, you think of these powerful waves that can do anything, that can do a lot of things, right? But you take a bucket, you go into the sea, and you come out and you take out a bucket of that water. That water no longer has the power to make waves. That water has lost the power to create life, to sustain life, or even or to take it away, because it has been separated from its source, right? As long as that water, that seawater, because that's the thing, the water never stopped being seawater. It just got separated from its source, the sea. And because it was separated from the source, it lost its power to create anything. And it became stagnant. And when it became stagnant, it became let's see, to compare it to us human beings, it became depressed. It felt powerless because it knew that it could no longer create. And believe me, if a person is in that situation where they feel depressed, when they feel stagnant, right? No matter what they do, they can feel as depressed as they want to be. They can feel as bad as they want to be. The situation will not change until they find a way to reconnect with their source. Until that water is put back into the sea, that water is going to be powerless. And what that water can do, and I keep saying water, we'll say seawater, but you know that I'm talking about you, I'm talking about a person, then what that water can do, because it feels stagnant, because it feels powerless and detached from its source, it has an emptiness inside. And it wants to fulfill that emptiness with outside things, things outside of it. And that is why people, when they fall into depression, then they also unfortunately seem to start using drugs, drinking too heavily, doing self-destructive things, because they're looking to fill that emptiness. But they're looking outside of themselves. Why? Because they are disconnected from their source. So the only thing that can be done is to take this water and put it back into the sea. Once the water is back into the sea and it's reconnected to its source, then that water goes back to being powerful. And it again has the opportunity, the power, the possibility to create life, to sustain life, to take life away. Because if you look at the sea, not all of the sea is powerful waves. There are some areas of the sea that is very tranquil, but it's still the sea. It can still create life. It can still do all these amazing things. So that's what I tell people when I work with people as a life coach, right? I tell people, okay, if you are unhappy with your life, in any area of your life, it's because you are separated from your source. Let me help you reconnect with that source. And that's what spiritual guidance is all about. I want to be that guidance that brings you back to your spiritual side. And once you have that within you, once you know what you need to do, then we come up with an action plan for you to do it. So I hope you get the point of this message regarding the spiritual guidance, that you have to say a strong word, but yeah, you do have to. You have to acknowledge that if your life is not going well, it's because you're separated from your source. For my part, it's God. My source is God. When I feel separated from God, I feel powerless. I get irritated easily. I start seeing, let's say, challenges instead of opportunities. And I'm a people's person. I love people. But when I'm detached from God, then I start seeing people as, let's say, as energies that are not always on my side. And because I think that they are not on my side, I feel detached from them. And the only way that I can feel better about myself and then feel better in helping people, I have to reconnect with God. And to reconnect with God, all you have to do is pray. You pray deeply and emotionally, and you feel the presence of God. In my opinion, in my belief, God is within you. And then, of course, if you go to a church, then God is going to be in that church too. If you go to an activity of other people that believe in God, then God is going to be there too. God is everywhere, in my opinion. But He resides within you. And if you want to reconnect with Him, all you have to do is pray with an open heart, put emotion into your prayer, make that prayer real, and have a conversation with God. And I'll bet you will feel something. The next area of Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy is health. We have to be healthy. if we want to create our ideal lifestyle. We have to be living a healthy lifestyle in order to create an ideal lifestyle. It's that simple. If you are sick, you won't have the energy to do what you need to do. Now, I understand. I'm a community health worker. I understand people get sick. Okay? I understand that things happen. Life is interesting, right? But I can tell you this. When we are sick, we have two choices. We can give in to that sickness and wait for it to pass, or we can go to see our doctors, we can work with our doctors, we can watch what we eat, by that I mean eating healthy, we can exercise, having an active lifestyle, we can try to reduce the amount of stress that we put on ourselves and that we allow other people to put on ourselves, right? We want to live a lifestyle that is as stress-free as possible. And then we want to work with our doctors, our healthcare provider, in managing any medication that we might, that we might need to take. But trust me, because I've learned this. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a clinical person. My education is in prevention. I want to prevent people from getting sick by teaching them how to live an ideal lifestyle. Once they get sick, we need the help of a doctor or a healthcare provider. So I work with a doctor or a healthcare provider, and believe it or not, I mix life coaching with CHW work to get into people's mind, to motivate them, to empower them, to want to create an ideal lifestyle. So health is very important, and everyone has a different condition and situation as far as their health is concerned. But if you do the basic things, if you eat healthy, if you exercise, live an active lifestyle, if you try to live a low stress lifestyle, and then if you work with the doctor, if you take medications, if you don't take medications, then that's fine. But the key is that you need to work with a healthcare provider, and only you can choose who works for you. I'm not advocating for any particular healthcare system or any healthcare organization or any healthcare provider. I'm just saying that when it comes to being healthy, in my opinion, it has to be a combination of you taking care of yourself and working with a professional, experienced healthcare provider that can help you achieve your goal. The next area of the Wheel of Life philosophy is work and career. And this is where it gets interesting for me. See, because as you know, the difference between work and career is that work is something that you do to pay the bills, to put money in your pockets, to not have money problems. We all have to work, because when we work, we feel better about ourselves, right? Excuse me for a second. Much better. Okay, so the next area of the Wheel of Life philosophy is work and career. Work, this is the best part for me. Well, the second best part. The best part for me is the spiritual guidance, because I feel empowered when I'm connected with my guide, with my spiritual guide, which is God. But work and career, see, work is something that you do to pay the bills, to meet your financial responsibilities. You have to work, because if you don't work, you don't produce. If you don't produce, you attract a lot of problems. Excuse me. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Okay? So you always want to be working. However, you also want to pursue a career. You have to pursue a career. A career is something that you want to do for the rest of your life. Okay? Give you a prime example. My career is I'm a community health worker. My job or a work that I do is I'm a professional life coach. As a professional life coach, I do Spanish medical interpreting and translation. I drive people around to appointments. I do everything. I help people move. I get people to do physical work that I can no longer do because I'm 45 now. I'm not 25 anymore. I can't do everything that I used to do before. But an example of this is I had a friend who needed to have her house maintained. So she said, I'll pay you so much so you can do it. I found someone and I paid that person less, less than what she was paying me, but a very fair amount. And that person went and did the job and I supervised. So that's what I'm talking about. When you work to make make everything happen, to have money in your pockets, to pay your bills, to meet your financial responsibilities. But a career is something that you pursue. Excuse me. But a career is something that you pursue. A career is something that you want to do for the rest of your life. I want to be a community health worker for the rest of my life. And I know that the best way that I'm going to be the best community health worker that I can be, I have to be an independent community health worker. That's why I started my own company called CHW Forever, because whenever you have to work for an organization that has a title, that title is going to come tied to a job description. And if that job description does not entail the actual work, the full scope of the work of a community health worker, guess what? You're going to have to do that work because that's what you're getting paid for. But then it's work, it's not a career, because a career is what you love to do, what's a passion, what doesn't feel like work. Do you see what I mean? So there you go. In the area of the wheel of life, you want to always be working because you want to meet your financial responsibilities. Because if you don't meet your financial responsibilities, your life can get very bad, very hectic, very quickly. But as you work, continue to pursue your career. Your career, again, is something that you want to do for the rest of your life, something that you enjoy to do, something that you would do even if you were not being paid. So therefore, I suggest to you, my friend, get to work on learning. First of all, you want to learn the difference between having a job and having a career. Once you know the difference, you go for it and you make it happen. The following area of the Wheel of Life philosophy is companionship. Now, companionship, that's a very tricky area. Companionship is not about having a relationship. I know so many people that spend most of their lives hoping that they can get themselves into a good relationship, looking for this wonderful person that is going to make their life so much better, that is going to make them happy, that is going to make them smile, that is going to make all the pain go away. You know what happens when people look for a perfect relationship? I have to add perfect relationship because I know many people that are in bad relationships, but to them that's better than nothing because they're afraid to be alone, so they stay in a relationship. No, there's people that specifically look for a perfect relationship, right? So you have people that don't mind being in a bad relationship because they're afraid to be alone, which is a very legitimate fear. Being alone is not fun, I can tell you. I was single for a very long time. It was not fun. Okay? So a lot of people are afraid of that. So they hold on to, let's say, broken relationships. But then there's also that other type of people that are looking for a perfect relationship. And until they find that perfect relationship, they don't settle. And they basically don't give a chance to someone that wants to get to know them if that person doesn't fit that perfect criteria, because they're thinking about perception. So a companionship is really not about a relationship. Relationship is part of companionship. Companionship is about finding your best friend and developing that best friendship into a love affair, into a romantic love affair that develops into a commitment to one another, to make each other happy, to understand each other, to be there for one another, to forgive one another. I can tell you that I've been through so many situations and I've seen so many situations where people get so stuck on their ego and on what was done to them that they don't want to forgive someone that hurts them. And you know what that does is that hurt, it just makes things worse. And then it kills the love in a relationship. Because remember, a companionship, and to have a good companionship, you have to have a good relationship. Mind you that I said a good relationship. I didn't say a perfect relationship, and I didn't say just a relationship. A good relationship. Okay? And a good relationship is a very subjective matter. So I don't want to get into that. But a good relationship is part of a companionship. But companionship goes beyond. Because it's not just about sacrificing oneself to make the other person happy. It's about both people coming together to meet and achieve a common desired goal. That's what relationship is all about. Okay? So please do not pursue a relationship. Pursue a companionship. Okay? Don't expect anyone to come into your life and make you happy and fulfilled and feel your emptiness, because then what you're doing is you're turning that person into a tool. You're basically turning that person into something that is doing something for you. Whereas if you have a best friend that does things with you, that supports you, that encourages you, that even challenges you, sometimes tells you things that you don't want to hear for your own good, and that person that is there for you in the good times and the bad times, okay, and understands and listens to you because that person is invested in you. But that person is invested in you because they are fine, they are good within themselves, and they know that you are going to make it better. That's another thing about relationships, is that I've known people that get into a relationship because they're sad, because they're lonely, because they're going through a lot of stuff in their lives, and they think that meeting someone new is going to make all that go away. And the best way that I can put that is by asking you a question. How many people do you not know that keep going from a bad relationship to another bad relationship and another bad relationship? How many couples do you know that they just seem unhappy from afar? They just seem unhappy from afar, but yet they stay together year after year. So that's another thing about relationships, is that they can be a lot of fun. They can be good, but they're usually about people being afraid of being alone. And that's why a lot of people put up with a lot of stuff, because they're afraid, not because they're in love. Okay? There's a fine line between being in love with someone that is there for you and wants to help you become the best that you can be, and settling for someone that helps you take the pain away, or understands you in the sense that does whatever you say and is there to serve you, and sacrifices himself or herself for you, because we all know sacrifice only brings losses. You don't want someone that wants to sacrifice for you. You don't want to sacrifice yourself for no one. You want to work on finding or having someone, or turning someone that you have in your life into a companion that is going to be there for you and is going to build a long, loving, and lasting relationship. The next area is financial literacy. Financial literacy is simply about making money, usually by a job or a career, and learning how to manage that money. I can tell you for my own part, I always had trouble managing money because I didn't know about a liability, the difference between a liability and an asset. A liability is something that takes money out of your pockets. An asset is something that puts money into your pockets. I learned a lot about these things from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. In actuality, I read that book and I followed that book's advice, and that's how I bought my own home back in 2002. I bought an investment property because I followed that book's advice. You gotta learn the difference between having an asset and having a liability. And it is true what it said. The book says it, many other people say it, many other professional financial advisors say it. They say that the main reason why some people are poor is because they fill themselves up with liabilities, and they don't learn much, or they don't invest much, or they don't learn much about investing so that they can create assets. I'll give you a prime example. Okay, back in the day when life was good, okay, I used to make a lot of money. I had a very good job. I was paid a good salary and a good commission. But most of my money went into having a number of cars. I actually used to have a Toyota Avalon, a convertible Nissan. It was a Nissan Z sports car. It was a convertible. It was a convertible, and I also had a pickup truck because I owned my home and I needed to um, to carry stuff and to buy stuff and maintain the home and so on and so forth. So I had 3 vehicles. I didn't need all those vehicles, but I felt good having them. I filled my house with all this material stuff that I didn't need. Okay? So the point being is that this day, I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm doing better, thanks to God, because I'm living my ideal lifestyle again. Okay? But the fact is that now I don't buy material things that I need. I try to invest my money into my business so that my business makes me more money. And my business, CHW Forever, it's about educating people on how to live a healthy lifestyle. And I can do that. I don't do it via this TV show because this TV show is informational. but I do create video productions for people and organizations, right? And once I create them, those people pay me, let's say, an installment fee, and I don't have to go work for them all the time. The work, the work has already been done. You'll see in this program, I'll show you a commercial that I did. That commercial, I did it once, I worked on it once. Once it was done, I get, I guess you could say, residual income. Every month I get paid for this ad. So the point being is that financial literacy is not just about making a whole bunch of money. It's not about becoming a genius about investing money. It's about making money and learning how to manage it. That's what financial literacy is all about. Okay. After financial literacy, we have the next area is education. Education is the next area of Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy. Why? Because if you're not educated, you limit yourself. If you really take the time to look at the difference in salary from a person that quit high school, that dropped out of high school, doesn't have a high school diploma, and then someone who completed high school, right? That alone makes a difference. So the person who dropped out makes about what? It's like 20, 30,000 less. You make more. Let's keep it positive. The person who graduates from high school makes more money than the person who dropped out of high school. The person who gets a bachelor's degree makes more money than the person who has a high school diploma. If you go to apply for a good job that pays well, or if you go into a career that pays well, if you have a high school diploma and if you go to compete with someone that has a bachelor's degree, you will lose. Simply because that person has a bachelor's degree, that person is going to make more money. So you want to educate yourself so you can make more money. And I'm going to touch on that. Education is not just about making money, but I'll talk about the importance of money. Because financial literacy is about making and managing money. But education is about putting yourself in a place where you can make more money, right? So now these days, most jobs require people, most professional jobs, require people to have a master's degree. So now even having a bachelor's degree, it's not enough these days, right? Because I don't know really the main reason for that, but I know that most professional jobs that I see that require a master's degree, people with a master's degree makes more money. A person with a master's degree makes more money than a person with a bachelor's degree, a high school diploma, or a person who dropped out of school. And now you go even higher, you go into doctorates and stuff like that. Education doesn't stop. You can educate yourself forever. So I want to emphasize and clarify that when I talk about education as a means to make money, I don't mean to imply that life is just all about money. But I'll tell you this, money is more important than you might imagine. Money is not everything, but money is important. Okay? I tell you by experience. I did achieve my ideal lifestyle. Back in 2002, I bought my own home, right? Because I had plenty of money in the bank. My credit was good. Like I said before, I had all these cars. I had all these material things, right? My financial life, my financial literacy was really good in 2002. I was living my ideal lifestyle. But I had this beautiful woman that was my fiance. I had many friends. I was in good standings with my family. I had so many things going on. My health was good, but I was missing one thing. My spiritual guidance was not lined up. And because my spiritual guidance was not lined up, I was not connected to God, everything went away in just a couple of years. So I'll tell you, I have been rich and I have been poor. And I'm here to tell you that being rich is a lot better. Being rich is a lot better, not just because you have money and you can buy material things. A lot of people are confused about that. And in my opinion, a lot of people sacrifice happiness for making a lot of money, right? It's not about that. It's not about the money. It's about not having to struggle for money. It's about not needing money. The more that you don't need money, the more you can enjoy your life, the healthier you are. Okay? If you talk to anyone who has had serious health conditions, money has been a key factor in how they got sick. Because let's be honest, okay, when you don't make a lot of money, you don't get to choose the quality of your health care. Yeah, you can have health care, especially now that we have the Affordable Care Act, but at the end of the day, if you do not produce money, in good quantities and learn how to manage it, then your health is going to suffer. And you'll get to see that. And I know a lot of people that work 2 to 3 jobs to make lots of money, because to them, they got to make money, they have to have a nice car, they have to live in a nice house, they have to look good, and they spend their whole life, their youth, right, and their mature years working so hard to fit this image of success. But then as they get older, their bodies cannot function the same way. So they start getting sick. And most of that money that they worked so hard to accumulate, now they have to invest it to regain their health. It's a really sad thing, and I know many cases like that. People that saved money year after year, that they deprived themselves from living a healthy lifestyle because they wanted to make this much money. Now they have to use that money to stay healthy, and because they're not healthy, they cannot enjoy your life. They are not living the ideal lifestyle. And I don't want that to happen to you. The next area of the Way of Life philosophy is family and friends. And notice that I said family and then friends, because to me, family is everything. Family is the most important thing in life. Okay? If you are in peace with your family, because we know that some families can be interesting. We know that we have some family members that can be very interesting people, but they're still family. So we have to find a way to work with them, to be together with them. At one point in my life, when I was living my ideal lifestyle, what I thought was my ideal lifestyle, in reality, what I was doing was pursuing the American dream. That's what I was doing. I don't do that anymore. Now I pursue my ideal lifestyle. Why? Because the American dream is a beautiful thing to pursue, especially if you achieve it, but it is just a dream. And eventually all dreams come to an end, and you have to come back to reality. That's just the way it is, right? So if you are in good standings with your family, if you are close with your family, you can accomplish so much more. So I didn't acknowledge it at that time. In 2002, when I was living high, as they say, living high meaning that I was living good. Don't misunderstand me. That was just a joke. Okay? But what I'm trying to say is that because I have a close relationship with my family, whenever I had an issue, I could go to any one of my brothers and sisters or my parents and talk to them. If I ever got in trouble, they were there for me. If they ever needed me, I was there for them. And for me, being able to be there for them, that made me feel good about myself, made me feel useful, right? So family is very important. Don't expect to have a perfect family, because we're all human beings. Families are composed of human beings, and we human beings are not perfect. So don't intend to make your family perfect. Just make it loving. Make love to be the priority part or component of your family. Be there for one another. Okay? Understand one another. I mean you. Understand your family. Love your family. Listen. Don't be so quick to judge. Do you know that the people that judge you the most are your family? Do you know that people that you judge the most are your family? Let's stop that. Let's stop that, and let's just think, this person is part of me because they are part of my family, right? I know so many people that get into arguments with families, get into bad situations with families, and then don't speak for years. Don't talk for years. And come on, and only when a family emergency happens, only then do they come back together. It's not only that a family member gets in trouble and that other family member comes in for the rescue. That doesn't bring them together. That's only temporarily, right? It's when a family emergency, some type of tragedy, unfortunately. That's usually what brings families together, and it shouldn't be that way, right? You should spend your time, if you want to create your ideal lifestyle, you should spend your time being the best family member that you can be to your family, because at the end of the day, they are the only people that are going to be there for you. And that is a nice segue. That is a nice segue to talk about, you want to have a good family and you want to have good friends. I say good family, but by good family, I mean that you want to be close with your family. You want to be there for your family, and your family will be there for you, right? But you need to have good friends. Mind you that I say good friends, not just friends, right? Think about it. The friends that you have, are they there for you in the good times and the bad times? Do they challenge you when you are doing things that you shouldn't be doing? Because we all know when we're doing stuff that we're not supposed to be doing. but we go ahead and do them anyways because we want to, face the consequences or what have you. We're looking for that instant gratification. And usually we associate ourselves with friends that they become like our partners in crime. Friends that basically push us, that celebrate when we do bad things, things that harm us, right? Things that are not good for us. Those are not your friends, okay? I have worked with a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people, and so many times people tell me, "Well, I have such lousy friends," and I said, "No, you don't. You surround yourself with people that are not your friends. If they were lousy, they should not be your friends. And if you acknowledge that they are lousy and you still hang out with them, that means that there's something that you need to work on. There's no such thing as a lousy friend. A good friend is a good friend, period. If the person is not a good friend, then there's nothing else. There's some type of acquaintance, someone that helps you fulfill some sense of immediate gratification. Okay? A good friend is going to be there for you in the good times and the bad times. It's going to challenge you sometimes. It's going to tell you things that you don't want to hear. And the only thing that that friend is going to ask of you is your time. If a friend of yours, and I'll use Andrew Carnegie as an example. Andrew Carnegie is one of my mentors. Okay? He came to this country being a poor man, a poor immigrant, and he grew to become the king of steel. And he died being the richest man in America in those days. We're talking about the 1900s. And when I read his biography, it turned out that it all started for him when he reached out to his friends for an investment. And his friends supported him because the idea was good. And once his friends' support came through and he made all that money, he paid that money back. That made his friendships stronger. Yes, of course, there's what a couple of people, as he went on through his life, that things didn't work out so well. You would have to read his biography to see that. But the point being is that for him, for Andrew, it was about good friends, right? Good friends enabled him to grow in his life. And what did Andrew Carnegie did before he died? He created and a lot of libraries, donated a lot of money to create more libraries because he wanted people to become educated. So the importance of a friend is that you need to surround yourself with good friends. If they're not good, then they're not your friends. And if you're choosing to hang out with people that are not good friends, then that's something that you need to examine. Because if you have a close family and you have good friends, you will feel so strong and powerful inside. You'll feel like there's nothing you cannot do in your life, and you can accomplish anything, including the American dream, which is supposed to be about the pursuit of happiness. Now, the last and the first area of the wheel of life is spiritual guidance. You see, because it's a wheel. The wheel of life philosophy, Rafael Calderon's wheel of life philosophy, it's a circle. Life is a circle. We always go back to where we came from. Okay? So I already told you, spiritual guidance is not about religion. It's about having a relationship with something greater than yourself, whatever you may call it. I choose to call it God. If you are in a good relationship with God, you will make your life good. You will lead a good life, right? So this is what the area that the wheel of life philosophy is all about, right? And the core of the wheel of life philosophy is that you want to create your ideal lifestyle. You want to spend your life creating your ideal lifestyle. When you are creating your ideal lifestyle, you don't have time to get depressed. You don't have time to let people into your life that you know are going to hurt you and derail you and make things difficult for you. I have a simple rule. I don't have that many friends because I only have good friends. And if someone tells me, okay, how come you only have such few good friends? I say, because I can see people coming from afar. I can read people. And if they're not honest, if they're not sincere, then I politely remove myself from them. Let me give you an example. I have 5 good friends that I've known since I came to the United States back in the 1980s, late 1980s. Okay? My best friends are my oldest brother, Anthony Calderon, my younger brother, Julio Calderon, my baby brother, Daniel Calderon. Okay? Outside of my brothers, I hang out with Randall Mota. Well, Randall Mota, he's one of my best friends, but he lives in Orlando, Florida. But then in this area, I have Wilson Mora, who lives in Boston. I have Elvis Campagna, who lives in Virginia. In fact, when I talk about family and friends, and I open up with a short video, that short video, those are my three main friends in this area: Anthony, Elvis, and Wilson, right? Because we've been friends since 1988. My friends, my brother and I, we've been brothers, that our lives. But the point being is that those friends of mine, we disagree in a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I can count on them to be there for me, to want what's good for me, to want what's best for me, and to challenge me when I'm getting out of line. So that's why our friendship has lasted so long. That's why my brother and I, even though we argue once in a blue moon because we're human beings, we always end up having each other's back because we're family, but we're also good friends. And good friends, basically because in my heart, I'm connected to my spiritual guidance. And if I'm connected with my spiritual guidance, then I want to be useful to my brother, to my friends, to everybody. So there you have it. That is Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy. Okay. So now I'm going to go into I'm going to try to summarize everything so that if you have only 5 minutes to watch this TV show, which is going to be this TV program, which is going to be 1 hour long, you can know what the program is about, and then you can watch it at your own pace, per se. Okay, so again, this is a special edition of CHW in Action. CHW stands for Community Health Worker in Action because I am a certified experienced community health worker, CHW, and I'm always in action to help people, to empower people, to live a healthy lifestyle so that they can create their ideal lifestyle. So I have been working on creating this special production video program called How to Create Your Ideal Lifestyle. It is a 1 hour long program. It is a long time, an hour, but you don't have to watch the whole program all at once. You can watch which area of your life you want to work in or with the most. And again, I should have mentioned that what I teach people is that in order to create your ideal lifestyle, you need to use a tool called the Wheel of Life philosophy. What I did is I took that Wheel of Life philosophy, I applied it to my personal experiences, and I called it Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy. And I use it to teach other people how to create their ideal lifestyle. Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy is based in 9 areas: spiritual guidance, health, working career, companionship, fun and recreation. I almost lost that one. Education. Okay, I'm going to start over because I don't know, I lost it. Okay. I've been working in this program for about a year. About a year ago, I decided that I wanted to create a 1 hour program where I can empower people to create their ideal lifestyle. So I decided, right, to create this video program because I love making videos, and I name it How to Create Your Ideal Lifestyle. In order for a person to create their ideal lifestyle, they have to be living a healthy lifestyle. And that's why I'm using this program this TV show of mine, CHW in Action. CHW stands for Community Health Worker in Action because I'm a certified, experienced CHW, Community Health Worker, and I'm always working to teach people. I'm working on teaching people how to create their ideal lifestyles by living a healthy lifestyle. And I teach people to do this by using a tool that professional life coaches use called the Wheel of Life philosophy. And what I did is I took my personal experiences and I basically renamed that tool as Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy. And I can tell you, if you spend your time creating your ideal lifestyle, you will be a lot happier than if you were just going through the motions, right? Life is about what you make it happen, what you make out of it, right? So if you spend your time creating your ideal lifestyle, you're less likely to use, abuse, or misuse drugs and alcohol. You're less likely to get into bad relationships. You're less likely to let yourself go, like they say, because you would be spending all your time creating your ideal lifestyle. And to create your ideal lifestyle, you want to use Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy, which has 9 areas, okay? Area number 1 is spiritual guidance. Then you have health, then working career, then companionship, then fun and recreation, then education, then financial literacy, then family and friends, and you end up back in spiritual guidance. Spiritual guidance is key. So I use this tool and I teach it to people, and people basically learn how to create their ideal lifestyle. Now, to make this show more interesting, because I know it's going to be 1 hour long, and I know that an hour is a long time, I'm going to share with you video clips of places that I have visited during the time that I've been producing this program, which is more than a year. It took me more than a year to put this together, right? To put it together for you. So before I go into each area of Rafael Calderon's Suite of Life Philosophy, I will share for you some nice footage with some nice music so that we can keep it interesting. So please watch this program, pay attention to it. You don't have to watch the whole hour if it's too much for you. When you see the Wheel of Life Philosophy, Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life Philosophy, see which area of your life you want to work in or with the most, and then go to that area. Fast forward to that area and work on that. So this show is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. It's going to teach you how to create your ideal lifestyle by living a healthy lifestyle. It is my life's work. It is the tool that I want to use to become useful to you. I want to thank Access Nashua because they're allowing me to put this program together. They allow me to use equipment, and they allow me to convey this message to you at this lovely TV studio. So thank you, Access Nashua. Thank you, Greater Nashua, for allowing me to be your CHW. Thank you to Greater Manchester, New Hampshire, because that's where I live, and I know so many wonderful people. Thanks to the state of New Hampshire, because it's so beautiful. It challenges me, but it makes me a better person. And I don't have to say that thanks to God, because God is the number one thing. With God, anything is possible. And without God, things can get interesting. So with that, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you very much. I hope that you find this video program useful. I hope that you decide to spend your life creating your ideal lifestyle, and you will see that it will be one of the best decisions that you've made in your life. Because truly, when you are busy creating your ideal lifestyle, you don't have time for depression. You don't have time to look for things outside of yourself that can take control of you and damage your life. You don't have time for that because you know that you have things to do. You know that you have goals that you have to set and achieve. So please watch this program. Please use it. And I hope it helps you create your ideal lifestyle. Your CHW, your friend, Rafael Calderon.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.